The town of Hollow's End had long since buried its ghosts. Or so they believed. At the edge of the decaying forest, where fog clung to the trees like old cobwebs, stood the carnival. Or rather, what was left of it. Broken rides, rusted metal, sagging tents, everything draped in silence so thick it felt alive. Once, Hollow Creek Carnival had been the pride of the county, a glittering maze of lights and laughter. But that was 23 years ago, before the fire, before the disappearances, before the place was abandoned and locked away behind rusting chains. For decades, no one had dared to set foot inside. Until tonight. Eleanor Graves tightened her jacket against the chill as she approached the fence. Behind her, 3 others followed, her younger brother Daniel, his best friend Kayla, and Owen, the quiet one who rarely spoke but always watched with those sharp, unsettling eyes. They weren't thrill seekers or ghost hunters. They were chasing something far more elusive, answers. Eleanor's father had been among the missing the night the carnival burned. He had worked the Ferris wheel, and when the chaos broke loose, when flames devoured the tents and screams ripped through the midway, he had simply vanished. No body was ever recovered. Only whispers remained, whispers of children's cries, of shadows moving long after the last embers cooled. Now, 23 years later, Eleanor had returned to the place where her life had unraveled. The fence groaned as Owen pried the lock open with a crowbar. The sound echoed unnaturally loud in the silence, as if the carnival itself were listening. Daniel tried to make a joke, he always did when he was nervous. "Well, here's to trespassing on a nightmare. Who's buying the popcorn?" But no one laughed. As they slipped inside, the air seemed to change. It wasn't just colder, it was heavier, pressing against their lungs. Eleanor paused, her eyes drawn to the midway where twisted rides loomed like skeletons. The carousel horses, Fr. And somewhere deep in the fog, a sound drifted toward them. It wasn't the wind. It was laughter. High-pitched. Childlike. Distant. Kayla froze. "Tell me you all heard that." Eleanor's heart sank. She had heard it. They all had. The carnival wasn't empty. It had been waiting. Part 2, the echo of laughter. The laughter grew louder as they moved deeper into the carnival. It twisted around the fog, bouncing off the skeletal rides, filling the air with a sense of dread that no sane person could ignore. Eleanor's flashlight caught glimpses of movement, shadows flicking across walls, carousel horses seeming to twitch in place. Daniel stumbled over a broken ticket booth. "I swear I just saw someone there," he whispered, voice trembling. But when the others looked, the space was empty. Only the echoes remained. Kayla's hand found Eleanor's arm. "This place, it's alive," she murmured. "It's like it remembers everything that happened." Eleanor nodded but said nothing. She had heard the stories, had read every account of the carnival's past horrors, yet nothing prepared her for the feeling of being watched. The Ferris wheel loomed ahead, its metal framework groaning as the wind passed through it. Even though it had been burned and rusted beyond repair, the topmost car moved slightly, rocking as if something unseen were testing its balance. Owen was ahead of them now, his flashlight sweeping across the midway. He froze and pointed. Over there, the clown tent. The tent stripes had faded, but the colors were still faintly visible. The entrance flapped in the wind. A single, tiny voice called from inside. "Will you play with us?" Eleanor's stomach turned. It was unmistakably the voice of a child, but wrong. Hollow, as if the words were formed in someone else's throat. A sudden movement caught Eleanor's eye, a marionette lying on the ground, strings tangled, its painted eyes gleaming in the flashlight's beam. She reached down to touch it, and the moment her fing. Part 3, the Marionette House. The Marionette House sat at the far end of the carnival, its windows shattered, the paint peeling like scabs from old wounds. The air around it smelled of rot and candle wax, a mixture of decay and faintly sweet incense. Eleanor hesitated at the threshold, feeling an inexplicable pull, something about this house demanded her attention. Inside, the room was lined with shelves, each holding dolls of every shape and size. Some were missing limbs, others had cracked faces, but all had eyes that seemed alive. Their glassy stares followed Eleanor as she walked. "Don't touch anything," Owen whispered, voice tight. Eleanor's hand hovered over a marionette suspended by frayed strings. She could feel a vibration, subtle, beneath the floorboards. A soft scratching, like nails dragging slowly across wood. A single doll fell from a shelf on its own, landing at her feet. Its head rolled slightly, turning so its eyes met hers. "Play with us," the same hollow child's voice echoed, now multiple, surrounding them from every direction. The temperature dropped. Eleanor's breath condensed into clouds, and she could see the strings of the marionettes moving in the corners of her vision, though nothing touched them. Kayla gasped, pointing at a large figure at the back of the room, a clown, its painted grin chipped, eyes empty black pits. It didn't move, yet Eleanor could feel its gaze drilling into her chest. Suddenly, the door slammed behind them. The sound reverberated like thunder through the tiny house. Panic clawed at Eleanor as the whispering multiplied, voices overlapping in maddening cacophony. "We've been waiting for you." Eleanor realized with a sickening certainty that this was no ordinary haunting. The carnival remembered. It hungered. And now, it had marked them. Part 4, The Ferris Wheel That Still Turns. Outside, the wind howled through the rusted frame of the Ferris wheel. Even in its decayed state, it creaked as if it were alive, moving with a rhythm that felt almost deliberate. Eleanor stepped closer, drawn by an unseen force. "Don't," Kayla warned, her voice trembling. It's watching." The Ferris wheel car at the top shifted slightly, a silhouette barely visible against the foggy sky. Eleanor's heart pounded. She could swear she saw a small figure sitting there, rocking slowly back and forth, staring down at them with hollow eyes. Daniel's flashlight flickered and died. In the sudden darkness, Eleanor felt fingers brush her shoulder. She spun, nothing. But the whispers returned, louder now, overlapping voices of children, laughter, and cries. The ground beneath them seemed to pulse, like the carnival itself was breathing. Eleanor realized that the carnival wasn't merely haunted, it was sentient, feeding off fear, shaping itself to the memories and regrets of anyone who entered. A sudden clatter made them all jump. The Ferris wheel began to turn, slowly at first, then faster, groaning and screeching. From the top car, a child's voice shouted, distorted. "Join us." Eleanor felt an irresistible pull. The Ferris wheel's car descended toward them, though no one had touched it. Shadows twisted and elongated from the ride, reaching for the intruders. Owen grabbed her arm. "We need to leave, now." But as they turned to run, the midway shifted. Paths stretched into impossible corridors, rides warped and twisted, and the whispers guided them deeper into the heart of the carnival. There was no exit. Only the carnival. Part 5, The Final Show. The heart of the carnival opened before them, a twisted tableau of burning memories and shadows. The big top tent, long collapsed, now stretched impossibly high, the ceiling vanishing into darkness. Laughter, crying, whispers, all merged into one deafening chorus. Eleanor, Daniel, Kayla, and Owen stumbled forward, their every step swallowed by the fog. The carousel's horses galloped without motion, their eyes glassy and accusing. The clown from the marionette house appeared, now enormous, towering over them, its grin wide and impossibly sharp. From above, the Ferris wheel's top car descended slowly, and Eleanor saw her father's face among the shadows inside. Not alive, twisted, hollow-eyed, reaching for her. "Eleanor," the whispering called, layering every voice they had heard. Stay with us forever." Panic surged. Eleanor realized they had been lured, not merely haunted, but hunted by the carnival itself. Its essence fed on the lost, the curious, the grieving. Every ride, every doll, every shadow was a part of it. Kayla screamed as a hand of darkness snatched her into the fog. Daniel tried to pull her back, but more shadows reached out, consuming him as well. Owen's flashlight illuminated Eleanor's path for only a heartbeat before dying, leaving her alone. She ran to the Ferris wheel, reaching the topmost car. The wind lashed at her face, the whispers now screaming, pleading, promising. Eleanor climbed inside, desperate, and as the wheel began to turn, she glimpsed the carnival stretching endlessly below, corridors twisting, rides shifting, shadows dancing. And then, silence. The carnival exhaled, releasing its captives, or perhaps just taking new ones in. Eleanor's eyes adjusted to the darkness. She was alone. But she could feel it, the carnival, alive and aware, waiting for the next lost soul to enter its twisted world. The last thing she heard before everything went black was the faint, hollow laughter of children echoing from so. Part 5, The Final Show. Part 2, The Echo of Laughter. The deeper they went, the thicker the fog became, curling around their ankles like ghostly fingers. Eleanor's flashlight struggled to cut through the mist, and every shadow seemed to twitch with life. "Did you hear that?" Daniel whispered, clutching Eleanor's arm. A faint giggle floated on the wind, high-pitched, fleeting, almost innocent, but Eleanor felt it with her bones, cold and invasive. Kayla pointed to the carousel. Its paint was chipped, its horses frozen mid-gallop, yet Eleanor could swear their glassy eyes followed her. The organ music started, faint at first, discordant and warped, as though someone, or something, was playing it from far away. Owen moved ahead silently, scanning the area. "There's a path through the tents," he said, voice low. "It leads deeper. I think that's where the voices are strongest." Eleanor hesitated. Every instinct screamed to run, yet something pulled her forward, a compulsion she couldn't explain. They passed the broken stalls and toppled game booths, their eyes catching glimpses of figures that vanished when looked at directly. Then the laughter grew into a chorus, dozens of children, overlapping voices, calling out, singing. "Come play, stay with us," the words looped and twisted, layering over each other, impossible to parse, yet painfully clear. The tents ahead had partially collapsed, but shadows moved behind the torn fabric. A small figure appeared, a girl with hollow eyes, beckoning silently. Eleanor felt her chest tighten. The child's lips moved, forming words she couldn't hear but understood perfectly. "You shouldn't be here." Suddenly, the ground trembled. The Ferris wheel creaked above them, slowly turning, despite being long abandoned. Eleanor realized with horror that the carnival wasn't just a place. It was alive. Every ride, every shadow, every whisper was watching, waiting, feeding. They reached the tent's entrance. The air inside smelled of burnt stew. Part 3, The Marionette House. At the far end of the carnival, the Marionette House waited like a maw of darkness. Its windows were shattered, the wood rotted and crawling with creeping ivy. Eleanor hesitated, feeling the oppressive pull of the building. Something inside demanded her attention. The moment they stepped inside, the air changed. It was heavier, charged, as if the house itself breathed. Rows of dolls, marionettes, and puppets lined the shelves. Some were missing limbs, others had cracked faces, but all stared at them with glassy, accusing eyes. Owen muttered, Do not touch anything." Eleanor's hand hovered over a marionette dangling by frayed strings. As soon as her fingers brushed it, a faint vibration ran through the floorboards. A scratching noise, deliberate and slow, echoed from somewhere deep within the house. Suddenly, one doll fell to the floor on its own. Its head rolled to face Eleanor, its painted eyes gleaming. A chorus of voices erupted around them, "Play with us, join us." The sound came from every corner, layering children's laughter, whispers, and cries into an overwhelming cacophony. Kayla pointed, trembling, at a large clown figure at the back of the room. Its grin was wide, chipped, eyes black pits that seemed endless. It didn't move, but Eleanor could feel it observing her, predatory. The door slammed behind them, reverberating like thunder. Panic surged. The marionette strings twitched. The shadows shifted and stretched, reaching toward them. Eleanor realized with horror, this place was not just haunted, it was alive, and it wanted them. Part 5, The Final Show. The heart of the carnival stretched before them, impossibly vast and warped. The big top, though long collapsed, now rose endlessly, shadows twisting along the tattered canvas. The combined chorus of laughter, cries, and whispers filled the air, deafening and all-encompassing. Eleanor, Daniel, Kayla, and Owen stumbled forward. The carousel's horses twisted unnaturally, their glass eyes accusing, frozen in mid-gallop. From the shadows, the clown from the marionette house appeared, gigantic now, its grin impossibly wide, its eyes black voids. From above, Eleanor saw her father's face in the Ferris wheel's top car. Twisted, hollow-eyed, reaching toward her. The whispers surrounded them, "Stay, stay with us forever." The carnival pulsed, alive, consuming. Every shadow, every ride, every object waited for them. Kayla screamed as a dark hand snatched her into the fog. Daniel reached for her but was pulled in as well. Owen's flashlight flickered and died, leaving Eleanor alone. Desperate, Eleanor ran toward the Ferris wheel. She climbed into the top car as it began to move. The carnival below stretched endlessly, corridors twisting, rides shifting, shadows dancing. And then, silence. The carnival exhaled. Eleanor was alone. Yet she could feel it, alive and aware, waiting for the next lost soul. From deep within the fog came the faintest, hollow laughter of children, echoes of the abandoned, calling her name. Eleanor's breath caught. She realized she had survived, for now. But the carnival would never forget her. And it would never let anyone leave untouched.